Welcome. Another fucking Tuesday. What is this, episode 5?
Yes.
See. Fucking Tuesdays. Mr. Wizard the Ogre. Back at it. We're just gonna jump right into tarot. Dude, we got a whiteboard now. Like a legit whiteboard with a crap ton of markers. All colors. Big time.
Two mics working now.
Dude, we fucking made it.
Well, we'll see.
Fucking Tuesdays is major league now.
Hopefully the sound is better.
Yep.
Because 3 wasn't bad, but then 4 sounded quiet again. I don't know.
We're probably just going to have a couple of hours of Kiki in the background.
Playing with her balls.
Yeah, probably.
That she knocked off the Christmas tree.
Blue balls.
Apparently she hates Christmas. Should have named her Scrooge.
See.
Paint her green. Call her Grinch.
They make hair dye. Like non-toxic shit.
Yeah, but I mean, paint.
Dude, you're going to have PETA so far up our ass. Like, hemorrhoids,
fuck
man.
PETA.
Yeah, exactly. And
just use a tortilla.
Tortilla. No, wrong PETA.
Racist. What, that dude from that bird movie with the bow and arrow shit?
Avatar?
No. With Katniss. May the odds ever be in your favor and shit.
Oh, Hunger Games.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, didn't read it, didn't watch it.
PETA.
Anyway.
Better than Game of Thrones.
Dude, I don't know. I haven't read that much Game of Thrones yet.
Well, I didn't read any of the
We already discussed
Hunger Games.
Yeah, we already. Yep.
I was just talking about the movies.
I didn't watch them.
Which I'm sure are not nearly as good as the books. As the situation tends to be.
Generally.
But watching Game of Thrones.
Dude, if you have an imagination, it can't be beat by technology. If you don't, obviously technology is nice because you don't have to think or do anything.
Man, there are people, I know we kind of talked about this before, but people that can't picture things in their minds.
Yes.
Like there was this other podcast I was listening to. One of the people on there, I can't remember the word for it. I can't think of the word for the actual, I don't want to say condition either, but there is a word for people who can't picture things in their minds with their imagination or anything like that. But this podcast, they were talking about like nightmares and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I feel like I'm being singled out because like when he dreams, he doesn't see anything. Like he can still hear, smell, kind of feel. But there's no visual aspect to his dreams.
That's a really strange. I've never even considered that possibility.
Because there are people, like you said, reading a book, if you have a good imagination, it's going to be hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that have, I don't think you can say they don't have an imagination because I'm sure they do.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't see it in their head.
So
there's no visual aspect to their imagination.
I think I kind of mentioned this where like when I imagine shit, I don't imagine, at this point in my life, I don't even really see a face anymore. I don't know how to explain it. I feel people more than I see them. Mm-hmm. So like in my inner world, it's always been like that. I've just had an impression of a person, which is why there's not concrete, hard characters in my book. If I focus, I can like create that, but it's not automatic. So I guess if you just pull that back even farther, maybe they feel it's fucking strange. I'm going to have to ponder this heavily. Probably.
So when you think of a person, you don't really think of what they look like.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
There's never a face. Like,
but is there still a visual aspect to the...
Sort of. Locations and things usually.
Yeah.
But like the people themselves, imagine a name tag defilade. Like you see a dress or something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even really see a dress. It's impressions, man. Like when I think of a character, I'll think of a dress, but I don't actually see it.
Yeah.
The feel of it, the smell of it,
well, I mean, what
the
about
color,
people,
but not.
Though? like your mom, what do you see?
I can see her face if I concentrate, but
Yeah.
it's always more. It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Like, words are very two-dimensional. That's why we can write them on paper,
Right.
even without if we didn't have to use ink. They're two-dimensional objects. For a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
How many pictures does it take to make up 1 second of feeling?
Yeah. I mean, is that why you think people struggle with communicating their feelings?
Usually.
Just trying to put it into a two-dimensional space?
Well, most people don't even understand their feelings.
I certainly don't. I
Yeah.
turned that shit off a long time ago. I don't really have any emotions.
You think you did. You've walled it.
Yeah.
Which is commendable, because it's not easy without snapping. Usually when you build a dam, they break.
Yeah.
That's what they're built to do. So you got to outrun it, stay healthy, or keep the dam good, I guess. We got distracted. What were we even talking about? We haven't made it to the whiteboard
we were
yet.
talking about, I kind of brought up how there are people who can't picture things visually with their imaginations. But they can still get like the other senses and sensations. Like the guy from the podcast I was talking about, he had a nightmare where he was at a pool and he kind of has that vertigo feeling because that's something that terrifies him, is falling into the pool and drowning, whether it's him or some kid running around the pool playing, mm-hmm. falling in and drowning. Mm-hmm. So in his nightmare, like he can hear people talking around the pool, splashing in the water, swimming. Mm-hmm. He can smell the chlorine. He mm-hmm. can feel the moisture in the air. Mm-hmm. All these sensations, but he can't see in his mind the actual pool and the people in it and around it and what's happening. He can just hear what's going on.
So they call this the third eye, right? The imagination. And mm-hmm. I know that's why the eye term is so... I don't like it, because like the third eye, you can have all of your senses in there. Some of them are heavier. Like I said, my sight is very rarely used in that world. Dude, I wonder if I couldn't help this dude unlock that. I have a couple of secrets that I'm not like...
Well, I don't even think it's that rare. I can't think of what it's called, but...
Okay, yeah, so this dude obviously has a public opinion on it. He's curious. He's Gnostic in this area. So, like, I would love to have a conversation with him. Maybe we can, like, he can come on this one. I'll go on that one. J-Rock style. I'm kind of trying to do this with all of the other senses for a few people I know that are, like, heavy dreamers. Mm-hmm. So they only, like, they hear things or they see things, but they're not actually really there, like, manipulating. They're just watching. So I'm hoping maybe, like, by opening more of the senses there, you'll have more control. Knowledge is power, that kind of shit. Like, the more you feel, see, touch, smell, whatever, hopefully the more you'll know. Like, is this solid? Dude, I feel things in dreams all the time.
Like physical touch,
sort of warmth, cold, mm-hmm. Pain regularly. That mm-hmm. one's strange. The hearing definitely works. Sight, like I said, it's more impressions, not like what you would really think of as like watching a movie or anything. Structures usually, but the people are, I don't want to call them spirits, but not full physical people. It seems like. Just the impressions of them.
So you want to talk about tarot now?
Sure. I kind of want to deck so I can verify some of these things. But okay. So I have the Radiant Rider-Waite White, however the fuck you pronounce that, for anybody listening at home who might be curious. I've got another new deck. It's the Wizard's Tarot, which is fucking weird, but I like it. Okay, I don't even need those. What am I doing with that? I need this.
The cheat sheet.
Yep. Dude, I love these things. Like, don't be embarrassed to have to use one, because there's a lot to fucking remember with tarot.
Now, I did read my tarot once before. It was a while ago.
Did I blow your mind?
Not really. I didn't really go into it with a specific question or anything like that. It was just a general, what's this all about kind of a thing.
75% of the time, I blow people's minds on the first 13 card spread. After that, most people don't ask me for a second reading. Like, because my tarot readings are, if they're not good, like the mind-blowing ones where I actually give you some knowledge that you need, people don't really like that. Like everybody wants, well, my toxic relationship is all my toxic boyfriend's fault.
They don't want to hear that it's their fault.
Half, I mean, at least. Like, it takes two people to fight, dude.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, made the excuses, whatever. It's not. Like, if you're not happy, you're not fucking happy, and it's not going to change. So tarot helps you find what shadow work you need to do. All right, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck, right? 22 major arcana, 56 lesser. The minor or the lesser arcana is the one they've modified and turned into what they call the standard deck of playing cards. You're familiar with like the 52 card playing deck? Yeah, those are the 4 suits of the lesser arcana. So they've turned cups into hearts, which is the love, swords into spades. You get it. I'm not going to go through them all because it's
the coins and diamonds.
Yeah. So I mean, it's obvious what they've done. So the 22 major arcana are arguably the most important and the least important because the whole thing's, it's all fucky. So, okay, so you've got the 0 card is the Fool, and every other card in the deck is a different aspect of him. So the minor arcana is his 4 major aspects of his life: love, wealth, conflict, and magic. We could argue about what the wands suit means, but unquantifiable, the other stuff. The major arcana would be like the Tower represents you've been building something for a while, but you've known it's fake. Like those things that give you anxiety. You know they're going to blow up. It's just a matter of when. That's why you're anxious about them. That's shadow work that needs done. So the Hanged Man is a guy who needs to make a decision and will not. So as the Fool, the thing that makes him special is he just keeps going. Like he does complete all 78 cards. It's one of those things. That's the 2D answer. The written in words.
Without going into all the
3D
meanings
answer
of the cards, which can mean multiple things. It's
just to read 13.
Yeah.
It takes over an hour.
Yeah.
So
it can be pretty complicated.
I don't pull over 13 because reading that many in a row, like you're so far out into theoretical. At this point, we're talking your 10-year plan, and it's the first time I've ever read your tarot. Like, go do the easy shadow work that I told you about at card 4. You don't need 30. You don't need 78, not today. 13's usually just, I've never had my tarot read. I don't know what it means. I've just shotgun blast. Fucking, we're going to figure it out. And next time you call me, I'm going to have a much better idea. Did you stop smoking the fucking meth, crazy? No? Call me back when you do. Maybe not before, please. Well, I haven't smoked in 17 hours. You're holding the bowl right now, aren't you? Anyway, I'm doing that monologue thing again.
I mean, I wonder if a lot of people see it like they see like magic tricks or something like that. Like sleight of hand or like a psychic reading where you read a person and generalize. And
like I said, I try to remove a lot of those generalities of like doing it through text. I don't Facebook stalk them. I don't, like, I might have a 4 or 5 minute conversation with them. Usually I don't even do that. Like, my favorite way to start is like, you want your tarot read? Okay. Don't say anything else. Tell me when you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, here's my spread. The same way I explained it to you, like 3x3, and then we'll pull 4 after, but don't worry about those. Let's worry about this 3x3. We start. Card 1. Cool. I try very hard not to cheat at that because literally this is me. If I was making money, maybe. And I think that's one of the reasons I don't usually like accepting any kind of, because I don't want people to think I'm lying to them to get their money.
Right.
Like, this is light work, in my opinion. People have problems. I'm trying to help them. And if tarot is what it takes for them to fix their fucking life, then does it matter? Would it matter if a placebo cured your grandmother's cancer or an actual expensive pill? As long as her cancer was cured.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
I mean, I'd rather it be the placebo because she's not going to die from side effects of the fucking chemo.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take placebo all day, every day. Convince me that I'm going to live, and I'll fucking live. That's how it works. Okay, back to the whiteboard.
And the wizard wants to talk about cryptocurrency and NFTs.
Cryptocurrency and NFTs. I will tell you what I know as I know them. Okay, so crypto. You haven't seen the movie Hackers, but okay. I'm assuming most of you haven't seen it. So you could go watch it and get your own opinion on this. Do that. So the plot of the movie, spoiler alerts, heavy spoiler alerts. If you're gonna watch it, pause now. Come back. Okay, cryptos.
Yeah, cryptos.
So the plot of the movie, the bad guy creates this worm file, right? He's a top level anti-hacker for this massive bank.
Mm-hmm.
So the worm is designed to go in and pick up rounding errors that the bank creates on a daily basis. At this point in the 90s, they had, I want to say it was a couple of $1 million after running the program for 6 months, right? So this program is what we would now know as a crypto miner, a mining rig. You know what I'm talking about. So They introduced this bank's supercomputer of the time to mining. So those rounding errors are what you're mining.
And we're talking about all the fractions of a cent.
Oh yeah, tiny portions. And that's why cryptocurrency, like most of them, a coin. So Bitcoin we'll get there. But your average, like SafeMoon, Dogecoin, these things are worth at launch. I think SafeMoon was 10 zeros before a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like 5 zeros before a 1. So it's gone up thousands of % since launch, but it's still, one of them is worth nothing. But for $100, you can get like 1 trillion of them or some shit.
Right.
So if they ever make it to $1, but that's the fun part about these stupid new, they release 4 trillion of them on release. If they make it to a penny, it's still hundreds of billions of dollars. Our economy cannot support this.
Mm-hmm.
Not for crypto. Okay, so I jumped ahead a bunch. So in the movie, they created these miners, right? And they were picking up these money's been digitized, right? So this shit is just as real as a penny. The difference is nobody's going to take scissors and clip 1/10,000th of a penny off and hand it to you as currency. So when these banks, let's say one of them has a fancier system than the other, one of them goes to 6 digits, the other one goes to 7. As they factor these percentages and things, which I know no human would do, but once again, we've introduced AI supercomputers. So they do factor all this dumb shit, and that's where the Binance chains and the bit chains and shit come in. All these rounding errors, you set a computer loose on, and it might hit this fucking huge file of like, I don't know, $4 or $5 that this bank just every day tried over and over to resend a transaction and was charged a penny or something every time, right? So like these things never come back into the system. It's just lost money. Our money is credits at this point. There's no gold standard. They print it at will. We should do the inflation thing sometime. All of these rounding errors, when you have large computers go and amass them, it pulls it out of the ether and puts it into a wallet. And these things running 24 hours a day at top capacity for years, they start to amass these big things. So when I was still heavily into the computers in the early 2000s, we set up a few of these miner system things, right? But it was just like a novelty at the time. You could find a couple of bucks and nobody could really do anything with it. So like this is what popped up as Bitcoin originally. So the original real cryptocurrency was just a place to spend them. It was like dark web shit. You could buy people, you could buy drugs, anything you didn't want any real traceability to, because these were credits that had been fabricated out of nothing. But they're real. Like, but they're not. They're as real as our fake money. So that's why they call them cryptos. These things, back in the day, the governments hated them. They like, this was how people were doing things illegally, tax free, because we could transfer $15 million online untraceably. So we're talking cartels, third world fucking governments, deposed Nigerian princes. You want to buy a kid in 2004, you're going to pay in Bitcoin. That's what it's for. And now nations are using them as their actual fucking currency. Crypto national currency. Cryptic doesn't make fucking sense.
It's not regulated at all, is it?
At all. Yeah. Well, now they are. So that's...
Are they? I didn't realize anybody had gotten regulation on it.
So Bitcoin is still its own monster. It was the one. That's why it's worth $40,000 or $50,000 a coin now. So one of these coins, if you had $1 worth of them in 2001, you'd be a billionaire today. Like, billionaire.
Yeah.
There are people with wallets from 2005 that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they have no access because it's literally, they're stored on a fucking hard drive.
They don't have the technology to get to anymore.
Well, or you don't have the passwords.
Yeah.
So like, these guys were surfing the dark web and shit. Like, these are experienced fucking computer nerds.
Yeah, if they
they're not just rocking a fucking $300 Acer from Walmart.
That's why you use the same password for everything.
Fair. But no, I mean, that's like,
what
not
smart
even
people do.
It wasn't even the passwords so much. Like, it's the systems and shit. Okay, so now we're into
the entire countries.
We're into regulation.
Yeah.
So the government doesn't like untraceability. Obviously, like, Google used to be free and real. The government didn't like that. It is now censored. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is still fighting the good fight, but they're heavily censored. They're nowhere near what they were 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, and now to shut them down completely, the governments are stepping in and opening their own cryptocurrencies that run on the same the bit chains and the Binance and this shit, which they're legalizing, adding laws to the same bullshit they pull on everything else. Like, it doesn't need regulated. It's cryptocurrency. Cryptos. So the new ones, yeah, they're regulating these. So eventually one of them is going to get trendy enough to get trendy. They just have to get trendy enough to work. Like, one of them has to be placebo effect. People have to think they're going to make enough money off this shit to spend their entire life fortune. And they need enough people to back it at the same fucking time.
Because they're trying to catch, going to give it worth.
They're trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And they just keep trying. Shiba, fucking Doge, SafeMoon. SafeMoon, I have a good feeling about because it is so heavily regulated. Security, which makes zero fucking sense to me, which is why I think it's going to be the one. So, like, go put $100 in SafeMoon right now, and if you win, if it's the one that does it, if like 100 million people go do it at the same time, it'll win, and you'll all win. Congratulations. Pick one. Let me know which one it is. We'll fucking rape the system. We will all invest at the same time and buy the government. Oh, that would be amazing. Anyway, questions about crypto?
Do you have any?
I don't.
I don't either.
I think I understand it to at least a base.
I mean, the moon one is the one you told me about, right?
Huh?
Didn't you tell me about the moon one a while ago? Yeah.
So I have friends invested in SafeMoon and Shiba.
Because I was looking into getting some of the SafeMoon, but it was such a pain in the ass that I just gave up and was like, fuck it. I don't want to deal with it.
And that's why it's going to work as soon as they figure that shit out. But like, that's the thing that I think are going to draw the governments to it. And you need something huge. You don't need short trendy, because that's when you get, it goes up to 4 zeros and then a 1. We don't need little trendy. We need trendy to get big trendy, to get bigger trendy. And then, I mean, it's an Anna Nicole Smith all over again. Lightning in a fucking bottle, man. And that's what it is. There's no substance behind it. If it ever, the first one that wins is going to break. Like, do you remember playing games, online games 15 years ago? every time a new patch would come out, everybody would play at the same time and it would break.
Mm-hmm. It still happens now. The next new big game drops, and everybody gets on it, and it crashes all the servers.
They break. Yeah. And it's funny because that's been the long and short of it the entire time. You'd think they'd realize, like, hey, but I think it's partially because they just don't want to spend the money.
They don't.
Like
because they know that it's going to hit hard like that.
It's going to taper fast.
Yeah, but then after a month or two,
it wouldn't taper so fast if it wasn't so fucked on release, though.
Yeah,
like they're ruining so many customers' experiences by being.
They don't even release full games anymore.
You're telling me a company like fucking Blizzard couldn't afford to throw an extra 15 servers in for release and pull them over to the next project, or just leave them?
And then I have to pay full price for a game that's not finished, and then every DLC that comes out after that.
Oh, yeah, I haven't played. Well, that's a lot of reasons I don't do that shit anymore, because it's all so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So video games to me were fairly stupid a long
That's
time
why you
ago.
wait until the game's been out for like 5 years, and then there's like, hey, the game's on sale with all the DLCs for $15.
I've been playing Final Fantasy VIII, bro, on a PS2 Slim.
Dude, that's a classic game. Everybody loves that game.
Exactly.
I was never really a fan of the games.
Do you know DLC on Final Fantasy VIII? There isn't any.
There isn't any.
Alcubierre Drive? You want to hop into it?
I don't sprechen Sie whatever you just said.
Alcubierre Drives.
Yeah. I wish we knew how to pronounce it, because, I have no idea.
It's close.
That's what it looks like. Alcubierre.
Yeah. Yeah, Google it. You should have at least an idea of what to Google in the next however long it takes me to get
Google's
done talking.
Free, and you get the pleasure and privilege of correcting us.
True.
Who doesn't like correcting other people when they do something wrong?
Please, if you're going to come at me, either come at me with like real theoretical reasons for your, like, I want evidence. I don't want, well, this dude on Google says, because who the fuck is that guy? Well, he's got a doctor. Okay, I will argue him this point, but you don't get to tell me I'm wrong because this other guy said this thing that you think is contradictory to my opinion. You possibly don't understand either.
And you're arguing physics. Was like, oh, he has a doctorate. Yeah, but his doctorate is in something that might have nothing to do with physics.
Could be.
Dude, so just because somebody has a doctorate doesn't mean they're a specialist in everything.
Well, yeah. Okay, so the Alcubierre Drive. It is what you would know as a warp drive.
Mm-hmm.
It warps space-time around it in the way very massive or very, very fast objects do. So the fun part...
We're talking about faster than the speed of light.
Sort of. Outside the speed of light. So, like, you could move faster than what you should be able to move at... You can cover greater distances.
It's the Speed Force. You ever read the Flash comics? Like, you know what I'm talking about when I say Speed Force?
I'm familiar with the idea. He steps out of space and time into the Speed Force, and then...
It's basically what gives him his powers.
So...
Or the root of his powers, as it were.
So the wrinkle theory...
Sorry, didn't mean to go nerdy.
No, you're good. So the wrinkle theory is basically what the Alcubierre Drive works on, where things that are heavy distort space-time around them. So if you imagine taking, like, you draw 2 points on something, right? Point A to point B, the shortest distance you've always been taught is a straight line. Okay, like 90s, I think, I want to say it was Hawking, came out with this idea that if you were to fold space-time so that these 2 points are now not on top of each other, but much closer in proximity. So, like, rather than 150 astronomical units, it's 6 feet. Literally like walking through a door.
So it's kind of like a wormhole then, isn't it?
No. So warp and worm are two different theories. Mm-hmm. Warp is...
Well, are you talking about the Alcubierre?
Yeah, the Alcubierre is a warp drive.
So it contracts space in front of it and expands space behind it.
Yes.
As a way of propulsion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it creates a wrinkle, whereas, like, you know how things move faster in a vacuum? There's a negative pressure in front of it and a positive pressure behind it, which is supposed to, like surfing a wave, push you. I still think the universe is going to intercede with this at space-time. Like, I think the wormholes have a better chance of working. So the warp drive works on the concave principle, like where you bend space-time in front of you to not have to cover the great distance, right? So that wrinkle, you basically shoot over the top of this warp. I don't know if I'm making it. It's like falling forward. So this drive,
it's almost like surfing.
Imagine a gravity drive. Yeah. So are you familiar with like how gravity works?
Mm-hmm.
So these massive objects or super dense objects such as dark matter, so let's say you're making your bed, right? And you've got your mattress all laid out. And are you familiar with hospital corners? Like, have you ever properly made a bed?
Yeah.
For those of you not familiar, you pull these things tight and like you're supposed to be able to bounce a corner off one. So imagine
could do a good.
Imagine you've got your bed all hospital cornered up, right? And you roll a marble across it. That marble, the weight of it is going to make even if it's a small one, it's going to make a depression on the surface of this fabric. All right, now say you roll a bowling ball across it. It's going to warp space-time. It's not going to be a flat plane anymore. Now imagine taking another marble and rolling it across. Depending on trajectories and shit, it might get stuck. It's definitely going to get, it might bounce off the bowling ball and it might get into the depression and be curved. This is the theory of relativity, by the way, which has been shown to affect light. So energy is relative to matter, which is sort of a different subject, obviously relevant to literally everything. It's the theory of relativity. Oh, stupid. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, the warp drive, it creates, like, they're talking about using dark matter. So the Alcubierre drive, they keep saying, we have an idea how to make it. Yeah, we have an idea. We have a lot of technology to create long before. And there's probably 5 or 6 meet God moments for the human species between now and then. Like when we can actually condense dark matter, just condensing it is a problem. Then storing it is a problem. I mean, just holding it stable in a small enough amount to not instant. If we fuck this up, everything disappears. All of it. New black hole right in the middle of fucking Earth. Congratulations.
There one instant, gone the next.
There goes probably our galaxy. There might be enough room between our galaxy and the next to save the next galaxy. But these things are self-fueling. Like every galaxy it eats makes it that much more likely to eat the next. They get bigger, which makes them stronger, which makes their pool bigger, which makes their event horizon farther. Oh, event horizon, that's a fun one. Where are we supposed to... Something about event horizon.
We were talking about the movie.
Wormholes. So that's the wormhole theory. Questions about Alcubierre?
So it's basically creating its own wave to ride on, and it uses that to push itself faster than the speed of light. That's cool.
So surfboard under its own power has none. It's 0 horsepower, right. Like nothing.
Well, basically the drive shifts space. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The
drive, it's almost...
There is no forward momentum with this.
So if you were to put
the wave is made.
A marble on the bed, like don't roll it on the bed, just put it down, let it go. It's not going to go anywhere. But if you use your finger to push in front of it, it's going to roll straight into your finger. Keep on dragging your finger, it's going to stay on your finger the whole time. Basically, the drive is what puts that indentation in front of the ship and moves it forward.
So they call it a gravity drive because it literally shifts gravity in front of it. It creates gravity,
like a wave of gravity
in front of it. The concept has been around a while. Gravity drives, warp drives, all those. So I think I mentioned that I don't think those will work because the universe is like, so this is where you get into time travel, either with super massive objects. So that event horizon word, around a black hole, the event horizon is as close as you can get and not get sucked in. Once you go 1 foot past that mark, you are instantly turned into singularity with everything else in there. You become dark matter. So supposedly. So like
Get turned into spaghetti.
So time is supposed to warp at this point. Like it's the fabric of space-time. Supposedly time will slow down at this point. So rather the closer you get to approaching singularity, the longer it takes, the slower you move. So your body would be stretched infinitely. And it might take I don't even know, like cosmic amounts of time for your consciousness to cease at that point. I don't know what kind of state you would be stuck in. Or if you would just instantly like zap into the higher universe or back into the singularity. That's too far out into the theory for me. So now wormholes, it's funny because they called that movie Event Horizon, and it was based on the wormhole theory, not the warp drive theory. So not the gravity drive. It doesn't really have anything to do with black holes. Sorta, I guess. So wormholes are where the fabric of space-time basically naturally is closer to itself, and sometimes supposedly the fabric will touch itself, right? Creating a warp drive, a hole between the two. So like that wrinkle thing we were talking about, rather than a concave shape, everything between me and you right now, this table just folds in on itself, and you and I get slid closer because of that. So wormhole drive would be the exact opposite. It would fold space convex, creating where you basically just step through 2 layers of the fabric and you're now on the other side. So this, you need something massive enough or important enough, whatever, to actually tear the fabric of space-time. So at some point, no matter how small of a point, between those 2 layers of fabric, there's going to be something else, something outside. Even if you try to seal it, there's still going to be, like, you have 2 separate layers touching. Am I making sense here? So like whatever that thing in between is, you have to pass through it. So that movie Event Horizon, the theory was like, as they were phasing out of this universe and into the next, or out of this dimension into the next, basically they ended up in hell for like 27 years or some shit. And it was just terrible nightmares and shit. So some portion of that, like a sentient hell dimension, came through on that ship and was fucking with this new ship who was trying to recover it. That's a cool movie. Check it out.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but
space horror.
Yeah.
So what kind of objects could create wormholes? The fabric of space-time as we know it. Like once you step outside, everything gets very weird. Like if this side of the fabric is what we would call law and order, the other side, like the white hole side, would be probably pure chaos, at least for us rational, law-abiding. Like we have the law of gravity, maybe they don't. Maybe shit's just floating willy-nilly all over the fucking place. Or maybe in singularity there is no place. Maybe there's only, I don't even know. Singularity sounds super boring. Like if you want to just be comfortable and relax and do nothing, like you're part of the greater whole, literally, maybe it'd be cool. But I'd get bored. I'm certain of this. I think the singularity might be heaven, where there's no worries. Like you're there. All the people you love are there too. And I guess that's maybe the ideal, the draw. Like there is no hell in this heaven because it's singularity. The bad people are just as much a part of the singularity as the good, because it's relative. We're out in pretty deep water at the moment, so don't feel bad if you're not following. I'm not even sure I follow most of the shit I say on this. What is that last thing you even say? Oh, the cigarette butt theory?
Cigarette butt, yeah.
I want to say one of my mushroom musings, ramblings, what the hell ever. I was smoking a cigarette, as I'm prone to do. And I don't think I'd had a lighter all night. So like I'd been trying to light cigarettes and shit, and I just kept getting pissed off. And I decided the best way to go about it was just to chain smoke, because like I had learned the value of a lit cigarette butt. Like an unlit one I get is basically worthless, but a lit one still has some value. And to all the burnout junkies that like they feel burnout, if you're still moving, you've still got a spark. If you fucking fan that bitch for however long it takes, you can at least light another cigarette with it. So like there's still value in a lit cigarette butt for the right person.
I had a grandma chain smoked like that for years. The only lighter she had was right by the bed. She'd get up in the morning, light her cigarette with the lighter, and then she'd chain smoke through the day.
I'm assuming they were cheaper back then. Like I get it that it was still probably expensive. Doing anything to that level is going to be expensive. But like, can you imagine? She smoked
packs a day.
Yeah, but $8-9 a pack.
These days,
4 packs a day. I mean, you're talking $36 fucking dollars a day. I know people that work 8 hours and don't make that. 8 times 8 is 36.
I went and picked up a carton of cigarettes. It was like $75.
Yeah, they're stupid. $7.50 for a pack. Yeah. People enjoy it, man. They have to tax it. That's how it works.
Yeah. I'm glad I quit.
They'll be doing oxygen soon. I mean, they kind of are. The oxygen bars. That's just the corporate overlords, though. That's not the government yet.
Yeah.
They haven't found a way to tax it. If they could figure out how to not make... Oh, maybe that's the plan.
If you don't pay your taxes, they take your oxygen?
No, like they ruin all of it, so you have to buy it from them.
Yeah, there's that.
That's what they're doing with water. Can't drink the tap anymore. You really, so even your Aquafinas and shit are just tap water that are reverse osmosis. And
yeah, Aquafina tastes terrible.
We added electrolytes and whatever the hell it is they call it. But look up the ingredients in your Dasani next time you're drinking one.
Don't drink Dasani.
Yeah. Well, all right. So if you are a Dasani drinker, just look it up. Look up that magnesium sulfate or whatever the hell that second ingredient is.
And also, how the hell can you drink that stuff? It tastes terrible.
Dude, it's reverse osmosis tap water. If you have no taste buds, most people are so used to manufactured bullshit, they can't tell the difference in stevia and fucking sugar.
Ugh.
The corporate model right now is to take something that people enjoy, suck the fucking soul out of it, reduce it to its elements, make it as profitable as possible, and force feed it. Even so people that cook at home think they're like, oh, we're doing so good.
We're using sugar alternatives.
Well, your vegan beef, it fucking comes from Australia, dude. They don't make vegan beef. What do you call it? Organic. That one.
Vegan beef. So that's like
it's soy.
Veggie.
So that's actually a theory of mine. Like all of the supposed Australian beef, it's either Soylent Green or like some kind of Impossible Whopper shit. Do you know how long it takes to get over here on a boat from Australia?
These days?
Any day.
Very long time.
Even years ago.
A while. 6
months, a year, multiple years, depending on what happens. Because they go around the Cape, yo. Yes, so
it's fine. It's frozen.
Well, yeah, but can they call that fresh beef? They thawed it at the store for you.
Yeah, but it was fresh when it was frozen, so it stays fresh while it's frozen.
Okay. Once again, we're like, well, you eat at McDonald's, so you're an idiot, dude. Unless you grow it yourself.
Yeah.
And honestly, it depends on what level of growing it yourself. Like, the air is poison at this point. If your animals breathe outside air, there's a very good chance of contamination with something. Because that's the fucking world we live in.
The air they're is drinking toxic. Water from the river.
Oh, God, don't do that. I'm not sick.
Not people, like the animals.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's why they're all juiced up with the anti-parasitics and antibiotics and all that shit.
The growth hormones.
Yeah. That's why you get chicken the size of turkey and turkey the size of a dog. in weeks.
And so you're familiar with GMOs? That's a fun conversation.
I mean, yeah, GMOs, that's been a thing for a long time.
So genetically modified organisms. Most fields of corn, like especially around, well, everywhere, but around here you notice it more because you pass smaller fields. So like we have 10 and 15 acre fields here, whereas out west they're like 10 and 15,000 acres. Okay, so here it's not as big of a deal, but every plant in a field of corn is a clone. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
They're all identical. That's why all of our harvesting equipment and stuff works so well, because the ears are even almost in the exact same spot. Like they know exactly what it's going to do. So those clones, that's genetically modified organisms. They're not.
Which is why you have multiple ears of corn on one stalk, and why the ear of corn is round
and so
and
perfect.
Full of kernels and not like flat and goofy looking.
Yeah, I mean,
like corn didn't grow like that back in the day.
So it's what we call a domesticated plant, just like domesticated animals. Sheep. I'm assuming sheep used to be goats. I think there's like 8,000 years of evidence of domestication with sheep. Sheep and dogs are the first two, I think, which everybody knows a wolf. I'm guessing it makes sense, right? Sheep, goat thing.
Mm-hmm. You get a goat, and then your goat has kids, and then one kid's really soft and fluffy, while the other one's kind of stringy and wiry. So you keep the fluffy one and have it breed and get more fluffy ones, and so on and so forth.
Line breeding, inbreeding. It's
that's why your purebred dogs are just in for a world of hurt with their genetic issues.
There's supposed to be rules on how close you can breed, but I know a bunch of people that do like father and daughter and like one step.
Puppy mills.
Yeah. And they get these super strange mutations, like massive or tiny or hairless or toothless or fucking no legs. So you take these selected mutations and you constantly mutate them over and over and over and over and over, and you get these rapid shifts. So shit like that is what's causing these super bugs, super viruses. Mm-hmm. And then, so like most of the new mutations are from when two similar viruses from separate areas, they've evolved slightly differently, and then they come back into. So let's say a guy from LA and a guy from New York City both have a meeting in Chicago. They both bring their separate strains of, let's just call it the flu, to location whatever, and both infect patient C at the same time or close. So as both of these viruses, sometimes they'll fight and kill each other, which is fucking fancy, but a lot of times they'll mutate. So like they're just close enough as separate mutations to mutate together. And then you've got superbug. Mm-hmm. So like the antibiotic resistant ones, that's just from human stupidity. We've literally taught the viruses how to kill us by being lazy and stupid. Magic fucking devices like antibiotics. I can't think of the dude's name, but the guy that discovered that shit, the penicillin, like, do you know how many lives he saved?
A lot.
Do you know how many lives he should have saved? Penicillin should have worked forever, in perpetuity. I guess eventually a virus would have naturally probably gained immunity to it. But penicillin only works if you take the full dose. You have to completely eradicate that bug. You cannot let it gain a tolerance.
So a lot of you are probably familiar with like the Z-Pack. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't finish that and take it when you're directed to, it was pointless and you have to do it again.
Yeah, so sometimes taking a partial course, like you start to feel better, and then like placebo effect / your body's natural immunities, that kind of shit. Like it does work. But the problem is, let's say you have a 10-day dose, you take 5 days, you kick that shit's ass, and there's just a few of them left in your body that the antibiotics should have killed, but they were just strange enough mutation to survive it. One more dose would have offed them, which is why they give you the extra days. You start to feel better day 2, day 3. Antibiotics are amazing. You still have to take 10 fucking days. And that's not for you. And that's not even for me. Like this is where that coronavirus shit comes in. For the people you love, follow instructions. And that one does work, I promise. I just explained the science to you. If you're going to take an antibiotic, take it all. If you're not going to take it all, don't fucking take it. Don't take it. That's fine. Like, that's fine too. Let your body naturally fight this shit or die. But if you're going to take it, don't fuck the rest of the world. There were over 200 of these things discovered, like these molds that would kill viruses. Dude, so we've evolved too far. We've seriously evolved too far. We're devolving. Shouldn't say we, they. Maybe me too. I don't know. This is going to need...
Well, maybe devolving is part of evolving.
Well, yeah. You can't do everything. Like, you can't carry around all your old life and still try to have a new one.
Yeah.